Welcome back, tarot students. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. And in this video, we're going to talk about the twos in the minor arcana. So we discussed in the first video, and it was very meaty, about how I storytell through the minor arcana using the analogy of building a house. So in the first video, we talked about the suits. There was a lot of information in there. We talked about the speed of the suits, the timing of the suits, the seasons that they represent, and how the ace is we get the idea that we're going to build a house. In the twos, we find our architect. So let's talk a little bit about the imagery in the cards and what that means for the house we're building. Thanks so much for being here. And I'm going to pull up that card view, hit the like button. And remember, ask me any questions in the chat. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, get a little bit deeper into this, you can always go over to my digital academy. This is just so that you have a better understanding of how I am reading the cards when I'm doing the pop culture readings that you love. So here we are. We're at the twos. We're looking for our architect. What does that mean? We are partnering with someone. We now have someone who we can share our dream with, and we can work forward with them to actualize that dream. So in our first card here, remember, wands, fire. They're very bursty. They flare up. They die down. It's very quick inspiration that we get. They're very unstable. They're very wild. And we are building our fun family house. So things are going to be chaotic. We might have to build extra bedrooms. We might have to add on to that. So we really can't have something that is firm and confined. So we want to have some options there. So our architect is going to be fun and wild and crazy and really a good time. Some of the imagery I want to point out to you is that our character he is dressed in red robes. We'll talk a little bit about color later on in this series, but he's looking out over the water. That's his inspiration. He's looking at some interesting things, possibilities, using his creative ability. In the palm of his hand, he has the world. And that means all he has to do is leap forward off this firm foundation of the castle keep. He is standing up on these solid ramparts of a facility, and he just needs to jump off that to get into his dream. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is the lily and rose cross that is in the corner. The twos are about choices, duality, bringing another party in. This does give us a great hint about that, because the rose and lily cross are really the purity of the spiritual realm. That is the lily, and the rose is the flower of passion from the material realm. When we put those together, we get two opposites that they can come together, they can blend, or they can make us pick a side. So that is one of the hints that I want you to look at when you examine this card with your new architect. So over here, we're moving on into the swords, reminding you the swords are black and white thinking, yes and no kind of answers and questions. And so we are going to have an architect who is very definite in the way that he wants to do things, he or she. Our character in the card is blindfolded. There's also in the card a small white dot on the forehead of this character depicted, and that is third eye thinking. What does this all mean to us? This means that even in that two-sided thinking, we have to be impartial, and we have to sometimes use more than the gifts of sense that we have. Hence, our character is blindfolded. I do want to point out one really cool thing about the swords. And as you explore the swords really, it matters if they are held, hammered, or if they're laying on the ground, or if they're, being utilized. I want you to make sure that you pay attention to how the swords function. Example, this is evenly balanced. We are looking at evenly balanced if we're going to do yes or no in our construction with our architect. The swords go off the edges of the cards in most typical Rider-Waite cards. They will go off the edges. Why is that? Because thinking is paramount. And the thinking extends beyond our physical world, beyond our edges. So always know that consideration can bring in, even though it's a very logical card, we can bring in some super thinking, if you will. The moon also depicts that it is nighttime and that darkness does envelop us and gives us some inspiration. And it is a sickle moon in the sky, which illustrates the subconscious as well. The moon is always going to be our subconscious. This is half formed. We're only getting part of the messages. Remember, again, if we're looking at progression, we're still only on the ethereal kind of thinking part of building our house. So that sleek glass and steel house, we're going to get it with this particular guy. If you look in the background, the water is not only watery and pliable, but we also have some rocks in it. Water and rock is the opposite. So we're still getting the duality that we can expect from the twos. With this particular architect, we may be arguing about which direction we're going to go with things. So moving on to the Two of Cups. Love the Two of Cups. There's a lot of information in this card. So we are going to start with the red lion up at the top. Now, I know my deck is blue and gold. We'll look at the colored cards later on. But here, our line up at the top is representing the passion of coming together and that creativity. Likewise, we have the staff of Hermes, the caduceus. We see this on medical imagery all of the time, and it is a healing power. It is a healing power of bringing two together that are like-minded. So our architect is absolutely going to give us a hand with bringing things to light and bringing them to life. We also have duality, again represented with male and female characters here. Remember, our twos are about coming together, but it's also about coming together with some different flavors. Moving on to our Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles has a very, very cool feature in here. The feature that I like to point out first is the hat that he's wearing. The hat is hilariously large, and it is an homage to the red plume that our Fool is wearing. The red plume is his passion and his inspiration. It is quite large and exciting. So with this, we are bringing that energy over. The adventure of the Fool, we are bringing into this seriousness of talking with our architect about building a great, solid home for future generations. So it is the Fool with a bit more substance to his dream. The infinity symbol that you can see right in the middle, the infinity symbol is about the natural course of ebb and flow. The tides, if you will, of finance, building, destruction. So we are always going to see money going up and down. No one just piles money into their bank account and it, stays there and just exponentially grows. Likewise, the tides will go in and out. This is just the natural course of things. And we see that echoed here in the background in the water with rising tides, lowering tides, rising tides, lowering tides. So it is letting us know that even though we are building this castle keep, we should build it with this architect with that ebb and flow in mind. So I hope this gives you some insight into the twos. We will be back in a bit with the threes, but I hope that you're enjoying this course. And if you have any questions, please knock them down below. I will do my best to answer them. And if you would like to learn more, please go visit my digital academy in the link down below, and you can get a robust course on tarot. See you soon in threes.